Begin transmission.
This program is intended for mature audiences. Parental discretion is advised.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. Tonight's open mic night. Anybody can come in and just have a good time. Tell us what's going on in their life if you want to. Talk about toys, promote your channel, just whatever it takes, man. I've got it wide open for everybody today. We got a few people already here in the chat. Let's see who's here today. Radical Toys is in. Hey, Adam, good to see you. Of course, Largo's here. He's saying hello to Radical. Master Versal Toy Hunter, our friend Eldor is here. Hello, he says. And Radical Mom, Mary Atwell, has come in as well. Hello there, Radical Mom. Good to see you. Wilhelm Toy and Hobby is here. Grindhead Jim is in the house. Yeah, it's Friday, Grindhead. No Way Farms is here. Good to see you, No Way. Good to see you here. And that kind of takes care of everybody that I see in the chat today. So let me go ahead and bring Largo into the stream here with me. What's going on there, Largo?
Another beautiful Friday. How you doing?
Man, I'm so glad it's Friday. I don't know what to do, but I got a big day tomorrow. I've got to go do something that I'd hate to do. I've got to go attend a funeral. We'll talk about that a little later on in the show today. Looked like Will bowed out. He kind of took off for a minute, but maybe he'll come on back in. Anyway, how's things going over there on the Largo homestead?
Well, so far so good. Started the year running, trying to get some footage for Largo's lair, just to test some things out, doing some shorts and toy photography and whatnot. Just playing.
Well, I'm going to bring somebody in. Hang on just a second. If you want something different, Grindhead, you're going to have to help me out with that, but I love that intro. I can't hear you because your mic's still muted.
You're the one that made me mute it, damn it. I said a mighty strionk to all. Very happy to be here. I don't really have a lot to talk about. I'll say that this has been a rough week, but a very productive week for me outside of the things that made it rough. And today I don't know what it is, but I woke up really energized and I did a lot of things that I wouldn't normally do in rapid succession. I was a functioning human for the entire day. And it was as if the universe opened up the clouds and said, "Oh, you're supposed to do this." And then toys showed up at my doorstep, which never happens because where I live, they're always lazy and put everything up front. Nah, I apparently have a new FedEx driver. And this young buck just came up and I'm like, "What's up, man?" He goes, "Hey, it says you have 2 packages. I don't have your other package on the truck. They scanned in the wrong one. So I'll come back tomorrow to bring you the one that the other package. But the one he brought was from Big Bad."
Oh, boy.
And now my patrons get to see the whole box and me talk about it at length, but I'm only going to show the figures that I think that Bill in particular would be interested in, and you might get a small kick out of it, Largo. I got me a vintage collection R2D2,
Very cool.
and I've been
Nice.
after an R2D2 forever. And when I saw they were reissuing this, I was like, well, there you go. Perfect price, perfect get. And it being Empire Strikes Back branded, you know, with what my goals are with Star Wars, that's perfect. Now,
Good.
that said, got me a little Thunder Punch He-Man action. Do you have one of these yet,
Alright.
Bill?
No, I don't have a Thunder Punch. I probably won't get one. I'm not big on the on those types of figures. I've got the only one I've got is the Battle Armor He-Man.
Well, you might change your tune when you see what he can do. His waist does spring back with the old school punch. And
Oh.
it appears, I can't confirm yet because I haven't opened the package, but it would appear that you can remove the arms, and you can most certainly remove the boots, and the armor is also removable. So if you wanted to buy a Thunder Punch He-Man, swap out all the parts for a traditional He-Man, you would then have a He-Man that could punch like the old school He-Man. So this
Well,
might become sought after for those that missed the old action feature. I'm just saying.
that is something worth looking into there, Jim. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
I
Now
saw-
the original had like a cap that you put in there.
Right.
Like a cap
This
gun,
does
right?
not have small firearms in it. There's no explosive capability
Aw.
to this guy. But I love the way they've represented the armor. I think it's a really good looking piece. I don't know if they're changing their paint deco or what, but it does feel like the vintage sculpt head. Every time they release it again, they are getting better with the paint deco, and the heads are looking better too.
Gojitron is giving you some congrats.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. I'm not always functional, as he and many others know quite well. Epic Badger's here too. What's up, man?
Yes,
And,
but
the last-
Grindhead, you put the fun in dysfunctional.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. That's good. Speaking of functional, though, I got me a King Hiss as well.
Nice.
Now, this is one where I'm
And I've got
glad the action feature's out there.
Side by side pictures of that with the original one. The arms are a little bit, and
Yeah.
it looks a lot better, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'll gladly get rid of the action feature for the transformation to get something that looks like a fearsome snake guy, you know? I like that. Now, there is
Mhm.
one more thing that I wanted to show off since, again, you're probably not going to buy the Thunder Punch He-Man per se, but I want to show something to you.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, you see those snake men in Horde Trooper suits? And they have
Yes.
the armor coming off like the Horde Trooper? Now,
Yeah.
I don't recall there being any figures like that in the line back in the day. But you want to talk about a brilliant reuse of molds. They're just going to get, black Horde Troopers and put snake heads on them. Now, here's what's cool
Mhm.
about that to me. He just went in the trash. God damn it. All right. Anyway. Think about it like this. You get a couple of those because they're not going to be probably as popular as, say, the Horde Troopers were. I have 4 Horde Troopers. I would gladly buy a 5th just to buy an extra one of these, a black one, swap out the head and just repaint the head black, so now I have a black Horde Trooper because that was an exclusive. And without having to paint the whole daggum thing, right? So, again, these little customization possibilities, plus the idea of now I'd have a snakehead I can just kind of use for whatever the hell I want to use it for. This is a very exciting and revealing idea. Like, I didn't know this was a thing at all. I didn't know. And if it's new for the line in general, I don't know. Zazel's here, I see. That's pretty freaking cool. Hey, buddy, what's up?
Now, I will say this real quick. I think Tony's live streaming over there on Analog. He sure is.
Oh, is he?
And he's got his. Yeah, he's doing a special stream today for getting all those subscribers, and I went over there and said hey to him, and gave him a little super chat real quick from Largo and I. And
Well,
I
sure.
encourage everyone, if you get a chance, please do that while he's still streaming. I don't care if you have to leave my stream to do it. I know you come right back. But yeah, he's just having a good time over there. I didn't catch a whole lot of his show, but I do have it open in a tab over here. I can go and check on him every once in a while if I want to.
Yeah, Tony's a good egg. He's been a great inspiration to a lot of us in the toy collecting and the veteran community. He's a cool dude.
Absolutely. Top shelf dude. Top shelf dude. One of the best channels of any kind on YouTube, and he deserves this milestone a ton. And I hope that it just starts to skyrocket for him because he
And-
puts a lot of work and thought into his content. He doesn't put out just any old thing, even more so than some other creators. That
Brian
are
had
known
had the
for a similar
opportunity to do an interview with him not too long ago, so I highly encourage
Now-
people to check out Grindhead's interview on his Grindhead Gym channel.
Not too long ago, dude. It was a year and a half ago.
When you get to be our age, a year and a half
Yeah.
ago, like
It's
not too
relative.
long ago. It's relatively not too long ago.
Like my grandpappy used to say, I got chunks in my colon older than that.
I mean,
And the
you know,
ticket in the house here, he says, just listening while I do some painting. I hope everyone's having a good Friday night. We sure are, Ticket. And whatever you're painting, man, you're gonna have to share it with me. Let me see what you're painting one of these times. And of course, if any of you guys who don't know who the Ticket is a fine musician. If you want to hear some of his tunes, tune in to AOM TV whenever he's streaming. He'll probably be playing some Ticket. One of my favorite tunes that he does is Purple Rain, and he also likes to do Safety Dance, among others. And it's pretty cool. Painting his house wall. So he's not doing a painting per se. He's just painting the house. Is Thrill House over there with you, Ticket? And No Way Farm says, my wife and I added one to our farm family. Excited for the day and I can play with toys with them. That sounds cool. And if you
Awesome.
guys want to watch some little piggies on a farm doing funny stuff, head over to No Way Farms and you can watch the little pigs playing and having fun.
Cool.
And No Way Farms is an actual farm, Grindhead, so that's why you see the little piggies over there.
I am all about the pork farms, man.
And
You dig on the
Ticket
pig,
says,
you dine on the swine.
no
I thought
Thrill
you
House
were,
there with
on a
Ticket.
special
Okay.
diet.
Well, the thing
I
is,
thought
like,
you were a vegetarian.
I'm torn, dude, because I find pigs to be endearing, intelligent animals, but I also like a good hot dog, a pork roast, and some bacon. It's something where I don't eat anywhere near as much of any of those things as I used to. It's a once in a blue moon thing. But it's one of I don't know. A year from now, I might be singing a different tune. I'm not going to get on a soapbox because, frankly, they don't make soapboxes that'll hold my weight, so I'll just stay off of it. I like to eat swine, and I like to hug swine.
Bacon is the best.
Indeed.
I
Everything
mean,
is
you
better
know,
with bacon.
Not everything is better with bacon. I can list a few things that if you introduce bacon into it, might not be your best day.
I agree with you on that one. There's a lot of people that would disagree with us both on that. However, there is one condiment that I have been meaning to try for years and years, but I haven't ever seen it for sale, for one thing, and the other, I just don't have the guts to even stick it in my mouth yet, and that's called Baconaise.
Oh, like bacon flavored mayonnaise?
That is bacon. Yes.
Oh, it's actually good. It's actually good. So if you've ever had like Chipotle mayonnaise or like spicy mayonnaise, it's a similar vibe. It just has a smoky bacon flavor to it. So imagine if you were to mix bacon bits into mayonnaise and had it on a sandwich. Like, this is not something that you'll just spoon out of the thing and like, oh, no, it'll actually be on a sandwich, of course. but
It's
the
a kind of
flavoring would be
okay.
more.
Well, I like
Yeah,
bacon sandwiches with a little mayonnaise on them, so I could see what the flavor
that
would
would
kind of be
be
like just in my mind.
yeah. But I will say that
All right.
whatever fear is stopping you from just putting that whole sandwich in your mouth, and also chat. If you know where to find bacon eggs, get with your boy because he needs to try it. I did sorry, he needs to try it because everyone should have a little bacon in their mouth, even in
Agreed.
form.
Yeah, I kind of have to do that too, Jim, when I'm pointing because I point in the wrong directions all the time. You
Yeah.
know, because everything's backwards.
Right. Now, and I've been using Google Meet for a lot of stuff. I particularly am using it for Patreon hangouts and stuff like that. Now, by default, it mirrors your image to what you can see, but that helps you avoid that crap
Yeah, I've noticed that.
because it
Yeah,
does
it
actually have
does.
a
Now,
function
let
to
me
it.
ask you something. Well, let me ask you something, Jim. Since we're talking about that, are you going to move exclusively to using that for your streams, or are you going to use StreamYard for certain things if necessary?
I'll put it this way: I plan to use Google Meet for anything that I can use it for. Um,
Okay.
I will say that its ease of use and the quality of video with very low um, resources is really good. Um, I've had roomfuls of people in Meet that traditionally have horrible internet connections,
Mm.
and they look and sound great. And it's there's no limit on how many people you can have in there, and even on the free version of it, you can have up to 100 people in it. Right, but I think
Mhm.
there's a limit of like an hour or two. Whereas with
Well,
you upgrade like your
one
Google
of
One
the
account,
problems
it's like
that I've got is, of course, I'm a piddly penny ante show, but I overproduce it a bit. If you notice, um,
no, really.
so I want to be able to put my overlays on there. I want to be able to put my backgrounds on there and all that kind of stuff. And I don't see the functionality in there to do that. Maybe I'm just not looking in the right place.
I haven't looked for that exact stuff, but I'll see what can be done because there's a good possibility because there's a lot of presentation stuff in there you
The
can
other thing
do.
is, can you highlight a guest? Can you move the guests around like you can in StreamYard? You know,
Yeah,
I can put you up here in the catbird seat if I wanted to, you know, or I can move Largo over there into the catbird seat.
well,
Then I can move
like
me
for
over
example,
next to Largo.
you
You
can't
know,
you
I don't
can't
know that you can.
rearrange you can't rearrange the tiles, but you can focus on people. You can pin specific people. So let's say there's 5 people in the chat, but I only want 3 of them to show big and the rest of them on the sideboard. You can do that.
Yeah.
If you want to put one person
Uh-huh.
big and still have a sidebar, you can do that. If you want to focus on them, you can do that. You can still share screens and windows and tabs and all this stuff. Um, I think that most of the functionality that you would actually need is there. But as far as the
Mm.
bells and whistles that StreamYard offers, it may not be there at this time. Um, but I will report to you on my findings as I continue to go through. But
Well,
it's
I
yeah,
appreciate that, Jim.
of course,
Yeah.
it's my pleasure, man.
Speaking of new and exciting, I
All right,
believe one of the boxes I
Wilhelm's
picked
down
up
here in the
today.
chat. I'm gonna
Oh,
put
hey,
him in
Will.
here, and he's got
Well,
his
I will
mic
hop
muted
out so
right
you
now, and
guys
he's
can
off
have
screen.
a good discussion with him. But I appreciate you spending time with me.
Before you leave,
Whoa, where are you going? Where are you going? I get here and you run away. What's going on?
I say,
I just
hold your
want to give you the
horses.
floor.
I don't mean
I
the
say,
floor.
I say, boy.
I want to see your face.
yeah, I was gonna holler at you real quick before you leave there, grindhead. I had a chat with a mutual friend of ours last night, and it was very productive.
Good, good. Glad to hear it.
Now, I don't know that anything's going to change, but I'm just saying that it was a very productive meeting. He was paying more attention to me than he was you guys that night anyway. So I don't know. Maybe we're on the
Right.
same wavelength. But
Could be.
anyway, other than that, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, people, but I've got to attend a funeral tomorrow, and I wanted to while you guys were here, I wanted to put this up here. A very good friend of mine's son passed away very unexpectedly on New Year's Eve. This gentleman here, his name Mikey Tadlock. He passed away on New Year's Eve night. He's only in his late 20s. He has a wife and a baby, and there is no insurance to cover the funeral expenses. This is a GoFundMe that they've put up. I will put the link to that in the chat. Please, if you've got a little extra money and you want to help somebody this holiday season, I know that's over with, but at this time of year, it's especially bad. And I would appreciate it if any of you guys have a little bit of extra. If you would please let these people have just a little bit of money. It doesn't have to be a lot. If you've only got $5 to spare, I would certainly appreciate that. And I will say this: my bot is telling you how to tip me today. Any Stream Lab tips that I get today will be going to this family in their time of need. And thank you so very much for allowing me to show that today. All right, I'm back on the screen. I've got that off the screen. You guys can come back now if you want to.
Yeah, it's horrible to hear that happens to anybody, especially someone with a family. So I'm glad that you were made aware that you knew what happened, and this is one of the things that doing what we do is really helpful with. It allows you to signal boost things like this that otherwise people just don't hear about. So I'm thankful that you did it, and I will be spreading that around on my socials as soon as I can.
Thank you so much, Jim. I appreciate that, man. That will help greatly. And like I said, tomorrow I've got to attend that. Just some background information on what happened. Apparently, it was just something that nobody ever would have expected. He had a blood clot. That blood clot traveled straight to his heart and killed him.
Oh, God.
So, and he was only in his late 20s. I'm getting close to 30, but not quite 30 yet. I don't know the exact age, but that's the wrong time to die. And his father is a very, very, very good friend of mine. Matter of fact, he's one of my brothers. And I can't imagine losing a child. I've got a child, so no parent should have to bury their own child ever.
Yeah, that's rough.
And we got another one coming in. Hey, Mike, what's going on?
What's going on, man?
This is Mike from Manic Plastic Toys. Everybody, if you haven't met him yet, he has a channel on Instagram and all that good stuff. If you haven't had a chance, go check him out. Anyway, let's just get started. First of all, since Mike is the one who never, ever, ever will talk in these things, I'm going to give him a chance to tell us what all's going on with him today. Go for it, Mike.
Not too much. Like I told you last week, I was going to share some of these off.
Oh, check it out. He's got some vintage figures there. Let me pull you up on the spotlight here.
Okay.
There you go. So that's
Mantenna
with his fused two legs, his eyes bug out. So that's vintage.
Yeah, I tried to paint him look like the cartoon.
Looks good.
Yeah.
That's great.
We got him. We got Leech.
Okay.
Cool.
And did you customize Leech? Tell us about the customizations that you've made on him.
I just painted them the Filmation colors.
Okay. All right. So make it look more like a cartoon.
Yeah. We got Spycore.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Let's see. We got Hordak.
All right, that's cartoon colored Hordak there, blue.
Yeah, messed up the eyes a little bit. Did the best I could though.
Yeah, the colors look really good.
Yeah. Let's see. We got Chopper, I guess you want to call him.
Yeah, that's what they call him in Filmation. They call him Chopper.
Yeah. Let's see, and we got Merman.
All right, and that's the original look of Merman there.
Right.
Do you like the original look of Merman, or do you like the cross cell art version of Merman?
I want to say the original.
Okay,
I think the original look looks better.
okay, and he did kind of look like that in the cartoon as well, did he not?
Right. Remember he had those I guess what you call them, ears that came out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they actually, I'm sure everybody knows this, but they actually reused the mold of Merman to make Stinkor.
Yeah.
You got anything else there for us there, Mike?
What else I get new? Been collecting more of the Toy Biz X-Men.
Okay. So
I've got
you're a
like-
big fan of Toy Biz X-Men?
Yeah, I've been doing a
Wilhelm is.
lot of those.
Yeah. That's a old Wolverine there.
Yeah, I've got a bunch of them.
Okay. Now, the other day I posted a picture of my my ongoing project here with Snake Mountain, and I had a little puppet dinosaur coming out of that cave hole on it. And you had posted that we kind of think alike because you did kind of the same thing with one of those puppets with your Fright Zone.
I did, because that puppet, the original one, it's tore to pieces. You can't find a decent one.
No, there are no mint of that puppet anymore because that puppet was made out of some kind of rubber that just melts into goo after a period of time.
Right.
But I have noticed that there are a lot of these dinosaur puppets that are available at Walmart. Let me pull myself up. I want you to see what I've done here, and this might give you an idea of something that you could do for yourself. This is actually the little dragon that you have in your Fright Zone, but
Right.
I went over to the floral section and I bought some of these little foam cylinders, and they just work perfect to hold that little sucker right in the right shape. And this is the perfect circumference to go right into those little cave holes that are on those place sets. So that'll hold his face open so he don't droop down and everything when you're displaying him in your playset. I thought you might appreciate that little tidbit there, Mike.
Okay, that's good information. Thank you.
Yeah, man. And Wilhelm's down there kind of lurking in the chat with his mic off and his camera off. I think he's spying on us or something. He's not talking or showing. There he is.
I'm here. Hey, sorry about that.
No, that's all right. What's going on, man? How are you been doing?
Pretty good. Had some good times, some bad times. It was a hell of a week, but
it has been a hell of
I'm
a
here.
week, folks. It really has on all fronts, and I'm glad it's freaking over. As a matter of fact, I was working my butt off at work, making those parts that I make all day long. I made 990 today, and I kept 90 aside to give to the guy that works behind me, so he'd be 90 ahead. And boss was coming by, and I'm just sitting over there pulling parts off the table. And I said, Dan, come here, man. He came over, and I said, look, I'm not going to be able to work tomorrow. He said, well, don't worry about it. We're not working tomorrow anyway. So, yay me.
All right.
That's
Great.
it.
And
Unfortunately, I have to work tomorrow.
the whole
but-
day I have to go to a funeral. So,
Yeah. Sorry to hear about that.
yeah, I appreciate it.
Well, I didn't mean to
Like I
drop
said,
out.
if any of you guys can help, we would certainly appreciate it. The family is distraught; they don't have anything, and how in the world a poor girl who's in her 20s is suddenly thrust upon something like this? It doesn't make any sense. And I see Rolando Flores has joined us here in the house. It's good to see you, Rolando. And now that I've got you on the screen and talking there, Wilhelm,
Yes, sir.
We're working on a project together. How is that progressing? I'm curious to know.
Yeah, no, nothing has been done. Like I said, it's been a pretty rough week. I was actually off on Tuesdays. I've been working back at work since Wednesday, but
Uh,
I had something else I was trying to finish up before the end of my weekend, which I did finish, and I am pretty happy to say. I don't know if you caught the video I put out Tuesday night, I think.
uh-huh.
Um, well, it's the best or the highest viewed video I've had on my channel, and the feedback has been pretty phenomenal. Hi, Radical Mom. How are
Congratulations.
you? Yeah, and I made a glaring error in it, and I think that's when you know you made it, when people start correcting you in the
Yeah.
because
Actually, let me give you a hint. Do that on purpose because that makes the comment section blow up, and that
yeah.
helps the algorithm when the comment section is full of comments.
But I will say, aside from, and it's only been a couple, but it's nice to know that people are actually watching. Because I was telling Margo last week that some of my earlier videos I made huge mistakes in, and no one even noticed. So I said they probably just didn't even pay attention or they didn't even see it. But
Well,
this
I had those worries myself when I first started. Will, as a matter of fact, I was surprised when I made my first live stream that there were people watching.
hey, I was there. I was there.
Yeah, I've been thinking about making a clip show of some of the clips of my screw ups at the beginning and some of the highlights of the year, and doing something like Grindhead did at Christmas time. Maybe putting that up for you guys to see because
Yeah.
there was one point and it was either the first or second stream where I just paused. I couldn't figure out what I was doing, and I just stopped and I went, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah. But I will tell you, better than any of the small little nitpicks, the amount of people that commented that this video took them down memory lane, and they're recounting in their comments the times that they spent with these toys or with the show,
Yeah.
and going down and sharing that with me really meant a lot, and that really helps you kind of get through any of the stuff in life. I really enjoyed reading those and responding to each
Absolutely.
one of them because that's what it's really all about.
Well,
So
there was another thing I wanted to ask you, Will.
yes, sir.
I know that you're doing a project for me, but I think that you're doing another project for somebody else.
I don't. Oh
Yeah.
no.
You got used to point in the other direction to point at the right person, right? Yeah. So GI Joe figures back in the day used to come with these adventure packs. I don't know what they actually
Yeah.
call them, but I had the bivouac, and I also had like the ammo dump,
Yeah.
and there was also a checkpoint and all kinds
Checkpoint
of
Alpha. You got the ammo
yeah.
dump. You've got the bivouac. Yeah. You've got. There was one that came out later on. Do you remember the Coastal Defender? Do any of you guys remember that
I
one?
vaguely
Yeah.
remember
It
that.
was
That was
like
kind
a
of a little
crate
later
on a
on.
trailer, and then like all the sides folded down and had missiles, like in a
Yeah.
chair.
But
Like, you think I'm a crate? Hell
now,
no.
the way I understand what you're doing is you're taking STL files of those sets and you're going to blow them up so that the Valaverse figures can play in them. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah, that's the general idea.
I'm just waiting back there.
Hey, whoa, Masters Maniac Mexico in the chat.
Yeah, but
Rolo, hey buddy,
Hey,
I
Rolo.
hope you're feeling better. I heard you weren't feeling so well, so your course can start.
What you say about
Are you
6:30?
on Saturdays, or is another day better for you? Yes, sir. Well, I do work on Saturdays now,
Or 7?
and I don't think that's changing. So I do get out of work at 5 o'clock. But yeah, Rolo, we need to exchange contact information because I need to talk to you. I've been kind of
Wilhelm, if you need his email address, it is master. It is his name
Oh.
there at the the service
Yeah.
that we use so
Oh,
much.
okay. So, hey, I had something weird happen to me too. So last week I posted before the new year. I posted a video, and here's an interesting thing. And I don't even know if I should talk about this on stream, but I guess I can. But have you ever been contacted by a company? So a company contacted me and asked me to take something down because it was an embargo. There's a press embargo on the images.
Do what now? All right, you're gonna have
Yeah.
to get into some detail
Okay.
on that.
Okay. So last week on one of the Facebook groups I'm in, right? It was actually it's a Brazilian 1/18th scale group that I'm in. They
Uh-huh.
posted that picture of the new Batwing from the Flash movie coming out
Okay, yeah.
from Spin Master Toys. So I just got really excited about it because I saw this new toy.
Yeah,
I had no
I think
idea that it was a
saw that.
leaked
I saw that
photo.
where you showed it. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know it was a leaked photo or anything, and I just basically just gave my initial reaction and my thoughts on it. It was
Well,
just a
here,
quick
well,
video.
let me ask you this.
But
All
it
they
turned
did
out,
was contact you and tell you to take it down, right?
yeah, they asked nicely. It was someone from their PR department.
That's good. That's good because there
They
was a
weren't
Jurassic
threatening.
Park dinosaur toy
That was a
channel.
different situation, though. That was because he received the product early. Like he pre-ordered it and they sent it to him, so he had it in hand, and he took
Yeah,
photos
they
of it.
took his
And
freaking
then
channel down about that.
They struck his channel. This photo, which was just popping up on all social media groups that I'm in, it's only one photo, but I had no idea it was a leaked image. I thought,
Yeah, I didn't know it was a
podcasters,
leaked
people-
image either.
people
Nobody
get
ever said
images
anything about
early
it being a
all the
leaked
time.
image.
So they were very nice about it. They just politely asked if I could take it down because there was a press embargo on it. And then I don't know if I should even say the next part, but I don't know if it's just BS or not. But they did say that if I take it down, they would be happy to send me actual samples of the product when the embargo is lifted.
There you go.
That-
Get some free
That's
toys and
not
show
why
them
I
what
took
you
it
can.
down. I just took it down because I didn't want to do anything wrong. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Masters Maniac says if any dang company would contact me, I would tell them that they are talking to Mexico, and if they really want me to react like a Mexicans do, I would send the news footage of today's news.
Yeah, some of these toy companies,
But
the way
they
they
were-
act, it's just like you're trying to keep some sort of big national secret or something. It's like, come on, man.
I
it's a
didn't
toy.
know. I obviously just explained that I saw the picture. I love their products. You could see that I talk about it all the time, and I was just excited to talk about it.
Yeah.
I happily took it down, but it was one of my top performing videos that I've ever put out. I guess because of the exclusive nature of it or something.
Sure.
And I didn't even think it was going to be. I thought it's it's like everything else on the channel. It's just things that interest me, and I'm just sharing it. And if you like it too, well, that's just great.
Right.
Yeah,
that's
so that
kind
was
of the way
a
I
weird
am. I mean,
situation.
I make
Has anything like
videos
that
for
happened to
myself.
you? You've never been
No,
contacted
I
by
have
like
not.
Mattel or anything like
Yeah.
that? Or-
No, I have not, Will, but I tell you, speaking on what you just said, I make everything I do for myself, and if anybody else likes it, that's just icing on the cake. Well, let me ask Mike a question here since he's been hanging out with us. Mike, have you seen the Spin Master toys, and are they anything that you're interested in?
The which ones now?
Spin Master, the little
specifically,
3-4 inch figures that Spin Master's coming out with for the DC characters.
I don't think I've seen them.
Yeah, they're over there in the toy section. They're if you go over where they have the superpowers at, they'll probably be right near there. But they have
they're right next to Superpowers. As a matter of
Yeah,
fact.
and,
The thing that appeals to me about them is that they're 4-inch or they're 1/18 scale.
yeah, they're a little smaller than superpowers, but they're just the right size to play with the figures that Will likes to collect,
Yeah.
which is
Which is
the 3
G.I.
3/4 inch figure.
Yep, G.I. Joe is number 1, and everything else I collect only because of its compatibility with G.I. Joe.
Oh, that's fair.
Well, I was that way with Star Wars when I was a kid. Now, speaking of Star Wars, do you remember the Adventure People?
Yeah, absolutely.
And,
I've
and the,
got
the adventure people used to interact with my Star Wars people all the time when we played.
that Adventure People van is top notch. That's an excellent vehicle. I mean, so many of them are great, but that little spaceship, it's kind of just a generic spaceship.
Yeah,
Everyone
I
is
used to
flying
have
that stuff
one of
around.
those,
Yeah.
and I had the little translucent aliens that came with it. There was a
Yeah, the
man.
figures weren't like perfect because they had like a fixed kind of position. Like the guy,
They
someone
were
actually,
they had what four points of articulation, arms and legs. Their
yeah,
head,
but someone told me there was one. He called it the steer and beer articulation because one hand would grip the steering wheel and one hand was like this.
yeah,
Maybe I'm not doing it right, but
yeah.
and if you look at them, it does look like it's one hand for steering, one hand for beer. Yeah, beer and steer. You can call it.
Steer and beer. I like
Yeah.
that. Oh,
Well, it was the 70s, so you know.
Yeah, yeah.
well,
Okay,
those were-
you guys may not know this, but when they were doing the pitch to Kenner, when Kenner was doing their first pitch for the Star Wars line, they actually used Adventure People to make the mock-ups.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I was just like, it's one of the things that I have like a saved alert on like eBay. It's like a saved search or Mercari, where I'll just look every once in a while. But someone had a lot of broken Fisher Price Adventure People vehicles, all of them missing some part or having some kind of damage. But that's not a problem for me. I like that. And it was like $12 for like 6 vehicles plus shipping.
Wow.
I'd have been all over
And
that like wow.
oh, of course, yeah. If you look on my Instagram, I think it was early last year. I posted like pictures of them, and I
Uh-huh.
intended on doing a video where, we took these broken toys and then kind of modded them and made them into something a little cooler.
Well, you know what?
With some add-ons.
Speaking of adventure people, one of the things that I have done, and if you guys go back and look at some of my old superpowers videos that I did, I think I might have showed this off. But I've got there was a news van. Now I don't have
Mhm.
all of it. I have some of it. I've got the van, and I've got the little man that went with the van. I don't have the little reporter lady that came with it. But I've got the little man, and the little man to me looks just like Perry White. And even though he's shorter than the Superpowers figures, he is my Perry White for Superpowers. Now the van, I haven't done anything with, but I've envisioned myself customizing that into a WGBS news van. And
The
if you don't
camping
know what
sets are really cool
WGBS
too.
is,
And
WGBS is the super channel of Metropolis.
since you
What you
brought
got?
up Adventure People, this was my supermarket toy score.
Let me get that up on the spotlight here, Will.
I was at my local supermarket and they had this. It's just made by a generic Chinese company. And, as the vehicle, it doesn't have any branding or anything. But the door opens. And with very little modification, you can make this compatible with your 1/18th action figures, 1/18th scale.
Sure.
But yeah, these come off. The little boards come off. The oars are usable. And anyway, there's 3 available, and I've been able to collect all 3 by driving around to all the different supermarkets in
And
my neighborhood.
how much were those?
So this is $15. $15.
Okay, that's not too bad. I mean, that's a reasonable price for a toy like that nowadays.
I like civilian vehicles for my 1/18th scale, also.
Well, they used to have a bunch of those types of vehicles at Walmart over in the cheap toy section.
Yeah, sure.
now
I've got quite a few of them. Yeah.
Now, at one time, the guys from Duck Dynasty had figures over there, and they were just little generic figures that kind of looked like them a little bit, but they all came with a truck or a boat or something like that.
Mhm.
And I think one of them came with a little campfire and all that kind of crap. But that's the kind of stuff that appeals to me. Because you can use all of that stuff with your other action figures to make dioramas, or hell, I play with them. I just go ahead and tell you right now, I play with them.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
No.
Mike, I think we were talking about this last week. Do you play with your toys, or do you just put them on the shelf?
Mainly, I just display them. I'll change them around. That's about it.
But I'm just curious because I can't help myself. I'll come in here and sometimes I'll be by myself. My wife sometimes will peek in to see what I'm doing and laugh and go back in the kitchen. But sometimes I'll find myself pulling my figures down and playing with them. I mean, playing with them like I did when I was a kid, moving them around and making them talk to each other. So you don't never find yourself doing that when you're all alone and you don't think anybody's watching.
I might have done it once or twice.
I got you. Okay, finally got you to admit it. Being an adult toy collector is just an interesting thing, is it not?
Yeah.
Nobody understands us except ourselves.
Right.
What
My
you showing
desk
off
is
there,
always-
Largo? Let me get you up on the spotlight so we can see what you're doing there. You got look like a Punisher figure there.
I do. Like most of us, my desk is chaos right now, but I've always got one or two guys hanging out on the shelf. So there's always somebody in reach if I just want somebody to fiddle with while I'm doing something.
Now, who is that beside the comedian there?
That is a figure from a video game whose name escapes me. I don't play the game, but I just like the space cowboy kind of look to him.
Yeah.
He's got a big old 6-gun and a metal arm, and his belt buckle says BAMF. And if you know, you know.
Yes, I know.
So I just thought it was a cool figure, so I just picked it up to.
Tell me a little bit about that Punisher figure that you're showing off there, Largo.
All righty. Well, he's from the Hasbro Marvel Legends. He came with a motorcycle, and he's a little bit beefy, but I kind of like Frank Castle like this. This is the way he excuse me, drawn in a lot of the comic books that
Yeah.
I enjoy. And I've got him hooked up
wearing
with some
a Punisher muscle shirt there instead of his normal body armor.
Exactly. And he's kitted out with some Valivers goodies. He borrowed a Bowie knife from Sergeant Slaughter, and he's got a rifle there from one of the many gear packs. So
is he wearing some LCE? Is that some kind of an LCE that he's wearing? If you guys don't know, that's a military term for load carrying equipment.
Just the straps that come with the weapons. He's got kind of an ammo strap that he came with. That's from Hasbro.
Okay.
And it's just kind of they just kind of threw that on there to give him a little bit more detail. But I love the head sculpt on this. He's all rough and tough, and he's had a day. And
John says he's just joined us, but he's driving right now. But he will be listening on his way home. That's a world made of cardboard, and the ticket says that figure that we were looking at a second ago was Aaron Black from Mortal Kombat. He thinks.
This one is actually from a game called went right out of my head because again I said I don't play the game, but it's like a combat game similar to Fortnite. I don't know. My son would know. He's into those video games, but I just like he's got the cigar in his mouth and the big old gun, and all he needs is a nice robot horse to ride, and he's good to go. So I might get him a Stridor. But yeah, you can see it's lots of spaghetti wires and chaos here. So. But like we're saying,
and I return. No Way Farms is down there with a Spaceballs reference up. Lord Helmet, what? Didn't I tell you always need to knock? What did you see? I didn't see you playing with your dolls again, sir.
I was watching that the other night.
You Spaceballs, yeah, that's a classic. Largo and I both have shit internet, so every once in a while we may spin for a minute, and I think I spun out of control there for a second, but I'm all back now, I think.
Yep, the 3 hamsters I've got running my internet are working overtime today.
And Rolo wants to know if you've got Brave Star in your collection, Largo.
I wish I did. I loved Brave Star. As a matter of fact, there is a third-party company called Ramen Toy, and they are right now in the early production of a the Marshal, a non-licensed character that looks
just
a
like
lot
Marshall
like
Bravestar, I bet you. All right, well, let me ask you
Mhm.
something. Do you know who owns the rights to Bravestar? I know Filmation did, but of course, Filmation was bought out by several different companies. Classic Media had it at one time. Entertainment Rights had it at one time. Do you
If I
know?
was going to venture a guess, I would say Mattel still has the toy rights. As far as the cartoon, I sure don't know.
And Blue
It'd be
Harvest
good to look
Toys
into.
saying hello to us. Hey, Blue Harvest, good to see you, man. I know you were on earlier, I think today, or you have something planned for tomorrow or on the 10th. We'll try to catch you when you do. Now let me throw this down here to Mike. Now, Mike, you're a vintage toy collector. Do you have any Bravestar in your collection?
I've only had one, and I sold the one I had.
Okay,
I would
all right.
like to get it, but they're expensive.
Yeah, and I was looking at Todd over there at Hebrew here a while back. He bought that whole Bravestar playset, of the little
Wow.
town, and
Yeah,
kind of kitted it out to be something for Rio Blast to play in, because Rio Blast is the Masters of the Universe cowboy,
right.
and I know a lot of people are waiting for Rio Blast to be released in the Origins line. Do you think that we'll have a Rio Blast coming along in the Origins line? Any of you guys start with Mike?
I think they'll get around to him
You
sooner or
do?
later.
All right.
Same thing
What
with
do you
Cyclone.
what do you think? What do you think there, Will? Do you collect Origins figures, or you just kind of watch?
No, I just enjoy them through you. But
Okay.
I think, but between you and Adam and everyone else, hey, Carl, how are you?
What's up there,
Good to see you,
Carl?
buddy.
Good to
How you
see
doing, guys?
Yeah, it's nice to see you. But yeah, I just enjoy them through you. But I think they'll definitely go down and eventually do all of the characters because it seems
I have
like
I have a feeling that
they're going to tap that
this year,
mine.
between this year and next year, they're going to have to. All right, Carl, what's going on over there in the Gojitron universe? Tell us. We want to know.
Not much. I just posted my big toy collection tour that I think you watched.
I did.
Yes.
And yeah, I'm going to take a few weeks off from the YouTubing. I did 90 videos in 2022, so I'm going to take a little break and come back at the end of the month with some new stuff.
That sounds
That's
cool.
awesome.
So how's your channel health doing there? What's your subscriber count up to now, Goji?
I hit around 500 over the holidays. I'm up to, I think, 512 or 513 right now. So it's coming along
Awesome.
nicely.
Nice. And
Congratulations.
how long have you been doing this?
I just hit 1 year back in December.
Now, see there,
Excellent.
some of us plug along for a long time and just now starting to hit it. And Gojitron goes out there and hits it out of the park in his first year. So congrats there, Carl.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
And,
I've been hanging around the YouTube community for a while, so people knew me because I've been on other channels. I was on Grindhead Jim. I was on a few other channels, so people kind of knew me to begin with before I jumped in. So I kind of had a little bit of a built-in, fan base, if you will, before I started the channel. So
okay.
Well, it helps too that you're a wealth of knowledge when it comes to the classic Bronze and Silver Age comics and some of the classic toys we love. So,
Mhm.
Yep.
I'm gonna put Goji in the spotlight here for a minute because oh yeah, we watched your room tour of your room and I was looking at all those wonderful things that you have in there, but Gojitron is I think the first part of that is for Godzilla, and you're like a really big Godzilla and kaiju type fan.
Yep.
Is there any special pieces over there that you would like to show off real quick to our viewers?
I mean, just the big boy here is my favorite, which was the conclusion of my tour video.
Yeah.
Now that is
Yeah.
the reissue. That is the reissue that they
Love
did of the Mattel Godzilla that came out on the Shogun Warriors line.
Right. This is from Toynami. They did this in more of a screen accurate type with the sculpting and the color.
Can you
and,
do the tongue? Do the tongue. That's my favorite part.
Yeah, there we go. All right.
Yeah.
So as we all
I
know,
love
the
that toy.
lever, the little red lever on the old Godzilla toy was the first thing that we always broke.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
did they fix it so that it's not so breakable this time?
Yeah. This lever is much smaller. You can see here. so it doesn't stick out as much. I think that was the problem with the original one. So
Right.
this one looks like it's not gonna snap off. I mean, it could
What
over
a
time. Who
toy,
knows what's
though.
gonna happen in 20 years? But if I'm still around, he might still be around.
Does his fist fire?
It sure
Yeah.
does.
That is
There's
just
a toy that brings me right back to like early childhood. It's that Godzilla, man. Cause
Yeah.
Yeah,
of course he had no hand. It was missing when I got mine.
Well, you can buy replacements for that, Will.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Shogun Plastics, I think.
Oh,
makes
I
it.
don't have mine anymore. I don't know what
Okay.
happened to it.
Did the box look like the original box, or did it? What
It
kind of
did,
box?
yeah. It had the same type of graphic, the same type of font on the logo. I don't have it in here. It's in my basement, but yeah, similar size, similar design.
And so curiously, what was the price originally on that, and what have they jumped up to now?
I think the original price was $260. I'm not sure what they're going for now. I think it's a little bit more than that.
Yeah.
Well, there was a company called Uni5 here a few years ago that re-released some of the Shogun Warriors. I think the Great Mazinger was one of them, and I think they also did the original Mazinger figure, Mazinger Z, and those things were really, really expensive, even on the front end. And now the prices that you see are outrageous on those. I have a reissue Great Mazinger back here that I bought just so that I could steal his scrander off of his back and put it on my Shogun
Mhm.
Mazinger. Do you have any of those?
No, I don't. No, I have one Jumbo Mashinger type of figure, which is this guy here. He was done by a company called HL Pro out of Japan.
Oh, that's the Grenadier right
Yeah.
there.
Grandizer.
Bloody Row.
Yep.
Have you ever seen in Japan when they released the Poppy released the Grenadier figure? They also made the saucer for him, and it was actually big enough for the big thing to go in, and a child could ride on it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's something I'll never afford, but
No,
Yeah.
no. But I mean, the idea that they even released something like that is just beyond me. And what the sad thing about those are that they're made out of the same plastic that the shampoo bottles are made out of.
Right.
And the Japanese would buy them for their children and then throw them in the trash.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, I saw an old ad for the original Mattel Shogun Warriors back in the 70s. I think there was something like $12.99, or a price that would break your heart today. But yeah, they were really cheap.
Oh well, I remember the big Shogun Warriors. See, I'm old enough to actually have played with them when I was a kid.
Mhm.
And
So
I
am I.
remember there was a place in Clarksdale, Mississippi called Magic Mart. And in Magic Mart, they had the Shogun Warriors back there, and the price on them was ridiculous. I mean, these were the big guys now, the 20-inch figures, made out of the polyurethane plastic. $7.99.
Yeah.
And I wanted one so bad, and Mama said it costed too much money.
If you only had a time machine.
I swear.
Right.
Well, back in 1976 and 1977, I think $8 was a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Star Wars figures cost, I think, $199 or $299 back then.
You know, I was thinking about that the other day. Let me get you back in here with everybody else. I know you don't like the spotlight there like that, but there used to be a store called Oklahoma Tire and Battery, better known as Otasco, and it was across the mid part of the United States and down here in Mississippi as well. And we had one in the little town that I live in. And I remember one year, the lady that ran the store had bought a whole bunch of toys at Christmas time, and had a little toy section down in her store. And those toys stayed there up until the store actually closed. And a lot of those toys were Star Wars action figures from the first movie and second movie. And I can remember as a child, I would get $2 or $3 for doing various chores around the house or working for neighbors, and I would run down to the Otasco store and buy a Star Wars figure. And they didn't sell that well, except to me, I guess, because there were figures there when that store closed that you couldn't find anywhere else. Have you ever come across a place with new old stock like that, Carl?
I haven't. Last time something like that happened was when Child World went out of business, and they were pulling out some old stock from the back that they had found. But that was years ago. That was in the '90s when Child World closed. I remember getting some Star Trek: The Motion Picture figures that were marked down to like 50 cents, the Kirk and the Spock.
Wow.
But
Now with
the invention of
those
eBay and since the invention of eBay and the internet, you don't see things like that anymore. Everybody knows how much everything is worth, and they want what they want for it.
No, some
I
of my
wish-
favorite moments were finding new old stock. As a matter of fact, I have it framed in a picture frame. It's in my garage, unfortunately, but it's the Batman vs Hulk comic book, the giant-sized one.
I had that.
So there was
It's like
this
a
liquor
Treasury
store
edition
called.
or I think it was called like a Treasury edition, the big.
It was called it was from the 70s, I believe.
Yeah, they used to make
And,
big ones like that. They did one with Superman versus Wonder Woman, which was actually set in World War II.
They did a
Mhm.
Superman versus Muhammad Ali. They did a bunch of different ones.
Superman
But-
and Spider-Man. They did two of those. The first
So
one.
there was
Superman
there was
versus
this liquor
Spider-Man.
store.
There
it
we
is.
go. Look, Dogetron actually
Comic
has
cover,
it.
yeah.
There it is,
So
right there.
$250. You see that cover price? $250.
Yeah.
I bought the last two copies that Lazzaro's liquor store had off the base shelf. So they had basically the magazine rack on one side. It was like a newsstand / liquor store. My dad would go in there all the time, and every time he was in there bullshitting with the BSing with the clerk there, because he would just talk with. I'd go over and I'd flip through the comic because it was always on the base shelf where they kept all the newspapers. But once all the newspapers sold out, there was all these old magazines and back issues underneath it. And I always looked at it, but he never bought it for me. Maybe I just never asked. I don't know. But yeah, when I got a bicycle and I was able to kind of start going away. This was like one town away, so it wasn't really that far. But one of the first stops I made was I thought about it. I went there, and sure enough, I lifted all the newspapers, and it was there. I bought both copies for $5. Back, and that was probably when I was 11 or 12, so that would have been 87. And so whatever the cover, how old is that there?
I believe that's 78.
78. Okay, so it might have been 10 years old, just sitting on the shelf there. And it's actually in pretty decent condition, just being stored underneath all those old magazines and newspapers.
And what the nice thing about finding that stuff in those old shops back in those days was they never increased the price on it. As a matter of fact, a lot of times they would decrease the price
I also got the carded Mego Hulk with the purple pants, and I have him still, but his elastic band snapped. He was kind of like a blown mold version of the Hulk. But I got him on the card at this place called the County Discount Store, and I used to see it when I was a kid. And sure enough, when I got that bicycle, and I was between 12 and 14, I used to just go on these excursions and go to places and spend my money. But I found him on a card at the County Discount Store in Bergenfield, New Jersey, and I bought him, and he was my favorite figure because he was huge. So I used to make him just pick up tanks and beat up G.I. Joe and just kick their asses. So that was pretty cool.
That was the thing when we were kids, 70s and 80s. When you got a bicycle, you had freedom. And then when you became a teenager and you got a car, it was that same kind of
those mom and pop
wheels,
stuff.
man.
And then in
2020, let me say this, Will.
Yeah.
What I remember, and I don't know if you guys remember this or not, but what I remember was drugstore toys.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay.
Go down
So
to the drugstore, they would always have a little section of cheap ass toys, but sometimes there'd be some good shit in there.
well, actually,
Stayed on the shelf forever and ever and ever. And if you dug through that, you could find shit from 20 years ago.
I went
still.
back to my hometown in 2020. It's on my Facebook page, but I went back to my hometown in 2020, and I visited the still functioning 5 and 10 store that we used to go to when I was a kid. It still has the name and everything, on it. It's owned by different people now, but yeah, you go in there, the fixtures are ancient. You can tell they're 50 years old, just all the shelves, everything. And they kind of do a bunch of different stuff in there now, but they used to have those nice glass showcase windows that went into the entrance, and they would have all the toys set up on there, on steppers. Anyway, we bought the killer whale there. My brother myself and my cousin all chipped in for it. I think my cousin wound up with it. I don't know how. But I remember taking that bike trip when we were kids and getting it there. I visited the place and walked through there, and I found a Snake Eyes on a motorcycle from the G.I. Joe movie that they re-released. It's probably the oldest new old stock item that I have. And I bought it in 2020. So when did the G.I. Joe movie come out? Mid 2000s. So
I can't tell you because I refuse to go see it.
I didn't go see him, but I had to buy it, man, because it was still on the pegs, and I was like, you know what? I'm buying this, and it was. Guess what? It was sticker price, whatever it was, like $6.99 or something like that.
John's got a question here. He says, "Does anybody remember Toys by Roy?"
Toys by Roy. What type of toys were they?
I can't say, but I can tell you what I do remember. Now this may not bring back any memories to you guys because you don't live here in the Mid-South. But at my drugstore, there was a little turn circular rack, that you turn when it had different shit on it,
Yeah.
And the topper up at the top said Happy Hal Toys, and it had Happy Hal with his little hand puppets in there. Now Happy Hal is before my time. He's 1950s, but he was a local host on, I think, one of the stations there in Memphis that had a kids show. And he had these little hand puppets that he did kind of like Mr. Rogers on there. Let me bring John into the stream with us. Hey, John, what's going on,
John,
man?
how are you?
Hey.
Oh, you're in the car, man. I might pop you back out because I don't want you to
No,
have a
I've
wreck.
actually stopped because I got hungry and I got something to eat. So I'm sitting in the parking lot.
Oh,
Good,
cool.
good.
I got really hungry.
Good to see you, man.
Tell us about Toys by Roy.
It was a toy store in the malls before KV Toys.
Okay.
It was it was pretty much a sterile environment. Everything was white and clean, and all the toys were on the shelves and everything, and just nice, neat rows. I can remember going in the early 80s, and they had Transformers and all that in there, and a lot of those knockoff robots too. That was where I got my first introduction to Baxinger, that 5 motorcycles that merged to form a single robot, and a few other things. Everybody else in the world, probably a few more, have wonderful memories of pocket money buying toys. One of my memories of having pocket money didn't end on a happy note. I had, with birthday money and stuff, I had $35. And I thought I was rich, that was in the 80s and everything. And I loved Voltron. And I was that weird kid that actually liked the Gladiator Voltron, the one that didn't even have a cartoon for it. The Albegas,
the three that stacked on top of each other, right? Is that the one? Yeah.
Right. And they were in Toys by Roy, but there was no price anywhere on the shelf, period. And so I went in there with all intentions, thinking $35 is going to get me this great toy. I picked it up, went to the counter, and I asked them, "How much is this?" The lady said $99.99.
Woo!
$100.
Wow.
And if you look
Back
at
on
the
the
Sears
shelf it
catalog, yeah, it was a lot. If you looked at the Sears catalog with the Voltrons they had, the vehicle and the Lion Force, they were $100 in the catalog, the Chris Sears Christmas wish book. I actually just got a little teary-eyed, just left it there and walked out of the store, just totally shocked, and didn't even look back. So, yeah, that was one of my. It wasn't a fond memory, but it's a memory that stuck with me for a long time.
Yeah.
Finally, I was able to buy one, but that was when I was an
sticker
adult.
shock. Yeah.
Yeah, I was finally able to buy one when I was an adult. But Toys by Roy was where I grew up. I grew up about half an hour outside Hammond, Louisiana, and it had a mall, Hammond Square Mall. It's no longer there. It got torn down. And Toys by Roy was in there. That was the only toy store for miles around. It would take me about half an hour to get there. with my parents driving because we lived so far away from it and everything. Now half an hour's nothing. I got an hour ride going home, so that's why I got something to eat. But yeah, it was the only place. Trips to Baton Rouge were really big. That's when I got to go to Children's Palace. Anybody remember that one? And Toys R Us were right by each other. And of course, Service Merchandise had its gigantic toy department and everything. It was basically like looking through Dojatron's video, his collection video there. So yeah, great video. But it took me a while to get through it, but I finally watched it all.
Thank you.
What are we
Oh,
looking
is
at
that-
here? It looks like we're looking into.
Oh, look, I
here.
just looked it up here. That's the Wards 5 and 10.
Okay.
That's the one I went to. This is their horribly merchandised. I found it. Hold on. This is their. Look at just all the stuff on the pegs.
Yeah.
And then I saw the GI Joe motorcycle back there, so I was like, I got.
Oh wow.
But it was $12.99. So it's probably a little
Oh.
expensive, but it's got a
Okay,
true
I remember
value.
those were the cheap versions of the
Oh,
GI
yeah.
Joe toys. Yeah,
But
okay.
that was in 2020, and that toy was probably from at least 10 years old at the time. But that is and you see the yellowed, because it was in the window for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It used to be a much nicer store, obviously, back in the 80s. It looked a lot nicer, and the displays in the window were much better. You can imagine those filling the entire window. They looked so much nicer. But yeah, it was surprising that the place was still up and running, though.
Well, let me ask World Made of Cardboard a question here. John, you said that you were a Voltron fan. Now, Voltron came out a little later in my life, and I was always confused by Voltron because there were several Voltron toys, and
Right.
they didn't even look like they had anything to do with one another. One of them was Lions, of course, and I think that was based on a cartoon show. But then there was
Right.
another one that was a bunch of vehicles that transformed into
Correct.
came together and transformed into a giant robot.
Right. What happened was it was a New World. Retro Blasting did a whole video set on this, and it's probably go down as history as one of the biggest mistakes ever that succeeded. Some guy went to Japan, saw these cartoons. He saw this lion robot cartoon, and he said, "I want that." And he's going to bring it back to the United States to get it dubbed and put it in the United States. Well, they sent the wrong cartoon. They sent the one with the 5 lions that we know, and that was the one that it was the most popular. And then one day they released the 15 vehicle Voltron, which I thoroughly enjoyed. I loved that one. I liked the Lion Force, but I thought the vehicle Voltron was even better myself. I was that weird kid that liked the weird stuff, and it didn't go over as well as the Lion Force. There was plans for that Albegus to come to the United States to be another Voltron. It was all of these had totally different animes in Japan, and they were just going to be brought over and dubbed as being the same or a similar story. It never happened. So New World Productions went ahead, or was it old, whatever Productions it was, went ahead and just made some more Lion Force Voltron episodes, and that was it. That's basically
So it's
me
kind of
remembering
similar to
what
what
Mike.
Harmony Gold did with Robotech, where they
Correct.
took several different anime and kind of mashed them together.
Correct. I actually enjoyed the Robotech series too. I have one thing I tried to do, and this is telling a little bit. I went back to watch Voltron, and I was easily amused as a kid. If I couldn't sit through the first episode, I was like, "This is so dull." And I was able to watch the King Beast Go Lion, which had a lot more gore and violence in it. So that was a little more interesting, but I had to read the text at the bottom, the subtitle. But yeah, yeah, it was. I would say this. I enjoyed Voltron. I just like any giant robot. Let's just go there. I
Well,
love Transformers. I loved Shogun Warriors. I had Mazinga Shogun Warrior. I had I still have my Godzilla Shogun Warrior. Uh, yeah, that's what I did. I've had all those. I love the giant robots as a kid, so maybe that's why I'm building robots out of cardboard now. So whatever.
you know what's interesting about Japanese manga and anime is that, first of all, if you go back to the original manga, those things were actually made for adults, not children.
Oh yeah,
So there's all this sexuality in there. There's all this blood and gore that's in there, which had to be sanitized a little bit when they actually made the anime out of them. And then Americans would go over there and they would pay some money and get rights to the anime and bring it over here, and then totally rewrite the damn story, cut out all the good parts because that was the parts that they didn't want the kids to be seeing, and
right.
then make these cartoons that we kind of watched when we were kids, but we didn't know that we
Right.
weren't getting any of the real story and none of that.
Yeah, the vehicle Voltron. I remember loving that show, and I tried to watch it. And the first time they launched Vehicle Voltron, the first time they launched all the vehicles, I mean, they play it up. All the guys going to their little chairs, going to the vehicles, getting in there and everything. They launch it. It was a mistake launch, and they had to be called back in to the ship. And I was like, "What? That's it? No big battle? You got us all hyped up, and oh well, sorry, come back in. Like, come on."
Yeah. I opted to get that the vehicle Voltron also because I had one at Voltron for several years, but it was a pricey toy, you know.
Yeah.
So I remember I had saved up a bunch of money, and my goal was to get the USS Flag. I really wanted the flag, and I saved up a lot of the money for it. I don't remember what retail was at the time, but I know it was expensive.
Yeah.
But when my parents probably didn't listen to me when I told them I wanted this thing and I was saving up for it because they told me when I hit the goal and I was like, I hit it. I got the money. Come on, let's go get it. They were like, wait a second, this thing's 7 feet long. And I was like, yeah, it's of course, you know, like who doesn't know this? They were like, hell no, you're not getting a 7-foot toy and putting it in our living room. So the deal was I could keep the money and my dad was going to buy me Voltron. So when we went to the store, I had a friend who had the line bots, and I don't know if you remember, but he had the die-cast version, and
Right.
the joints weren't very great on them, and like he'd go to pick them up, and his like leg would fall off all the time and stuff. And then I saw that vehicle one, and I said, I've never seen this before. Let me try it, and I loved it, man. I thought it was
Yeah.
great.
What was interesting, I actually was able to get the vehicle Voltron totally by surprise. I was in high school. Voltron had been off the air. It was probably, now that I look back, it may have been a bootleg, but it still had Matchbox and all that. It was in the box, I remember.
Yeah.
My father was, my grandmother lived his mother lived in Kentwood, Louisiana. So we went up there to visit. And if you know anything about Kentwood, it is basically just a crossroads. That's it. They have a couple of stores, and that's about it. Not much in Kentwood. We went to one of the stores. It was a little 5 and dime store. I cannot remember the name of it for the life of me right now. But I went in, and on the shelf for $20 was the vehicle Voltron.
Yes.
And I was like, "You got to be kidding me! This thing was
Dude.
$100."
My
And
friend
I
gave
bought
me
it.
crap for getting the vehicle Voltron, saying it was like a knockoff or like, you know, like you're getting like the Kmart version or whatever it was, whatever the insult was at the time. Well, let me tell you,
I
man,
think that's what,
you
because
got
what Johnny
more.
meant by it was a mistake because they should have renamed it to something else and it would have been fine.
Sure, I guess it was like Voltron 2 or Voltron 3 or something, I think it was
Yeah.
called. But I think actually Vehicle Voltron was Voltron 1 and I can't remember all of it, but
That
you
was
got
the confusing
Voltron.
part.
You've got all the vehicles, and then all of the vehicles. So if you had like the land vehicles, they formed a super vehicle. So you took like
Right.
the two. So you've got like 3 super vehicles. So there was an air, land, and sea vehicle. Like you kind of mash them together and make like the super vehicle out of them. Dude, I used to like make up a scavenger hunt. Like they had to find all the components of Ultron and hide these suckers all over my house, my yard, everything. I even submerged the
And that's why he no longer has the toy, folks.
but I would hide them,
Somewhere
or I
around
would
his
ask my
childhood home.
brother to hide them, and then I would go on a quest to form Voltron. I had so much fun playing with that toy because there were so many great pieces. That red jet that goes on his chest, the final piece, it's like, I love that jet. That's like
All
beautiful.
right,
That's
let me
spaceship or
interrupt you there, Will, for a second.
Yeah.
There's a question here for Goji. Rolo says that the brand new Mazinger Z with Homer Simpson mashed up bootleg has just come out down there in Mexico, and he wants to know if you want him to get you one, Goji.
Rolo, I would not say no to a Homer Simpson Mazinger Z Mexican bootleg.
Yeah.
I think I already knew the answer to the question before I
Yeah,
even
I was
asked
gonna
it.
say, that's like,
That's what we call a foregone conclusion.
Yeah, the
Let me jump down there to Mike for a second because he's being quiet again.
I think
Mike,
you had something to say.
Mike,
earlier.
do you collect any anime toys, or anything like that?
I used to have Dragon Ball. That was about it. Yeah.
So you never got into the Shogun Warriors or or any of that other kind of stuff.
No.
Okay, I was just curious because some of us are kind of old farts, and we kind of remember that stuff from back in the day. I know you guys every once in a while you get a glimpse of my Shogun collection that I have here at the house.
Right.
What you don't
You
see.
need some better lighting. You need a spotlight on them.
Actually, it's pretty bright in here, but the way my cameras work and the way my lighting is, it focuses on me, not the back. But I really need to get him down, but I can't get to him because he's too far away, and I have to climb across too much to get to him. But Unit 5 came out with a Gaiking that was based upon the original Poppy version and not the one that Mattel did. And that's the one that he actually has both fists that shoot, and instead of just a flat chest, the chest is actually molded to look like that lion.
Cool. Oh, nice.
You can take his head off, like he's transforming into that lion piece. I've got to show that off. Those Unit 5, they basically were repops of the original Poppy toys, but they weren't because those molds weren't available anymore. So they remade the molds. So they're a little different, but you can't tell any difference. Do you remember those Unit 5 re-releases there, Goji?
No, I don't. I don't think I was collecting toys when those came out, so those kind of passed me by.
I'll be right
I don't
back.
understand the Super
All right, cool,
7 jumbo.
I'll be right back.
I don't understand the Super 7 jumbos. Like that Mecha Godzilla, and they just advertised let's see, Roy Falker's VF1 from Robotech. They're $400 pretty much.
Yeah. Well, when Unit 5 did those re-releases, I was surprised at the prices on those because the original toys, like I said, they were like between $7 and $12 back in the 1970s. But these things were like $100, $200, $250, and it's the same damn toy made out of shampoo bottle plastic.
Right. I used to have a lot of jumbo machiners, but like I said, when I sold it all off when I lost my job back at the turn of the century and everything, because I had to pay for my wife's medical stuff. But I guess I made a good decision there. I don't know, but anyway, I had
She doesn't watch my show, does she?
I don't know. I think he watches Grindhead.
Joke. It's a joke.
He'll find out when he gets home.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which, by the way, I'm probably going to have to head home soon here. I'm just but yeah, it's a tough little thing now to look at these jumbo machiners. And if you are if you try to collect the originals, there's only like 2 people on the planet that could do it. You know, the original Garada K7 is, you'd have to go to a lawyer to make that transaction. They're going to ask like $10,000 for it easy.
Wow.
And it's just mind-boggling that this little piece of plastic that's sold.
Well, you know, talking about Garada K7, that was thought to not exist here a few years ago when somebody actually showed a picture of the actual model. The Garada K7 was actually a store display model. It was never released.
Yeah, there's one, from what I understand, and this was back in the 90s, well, early 2000s, late 90s, when Bandai created their museum. They have a Garada K7 hanging from the ceiling, but we're using just wires to hang it from the ceiling. And there, some of the guys I was talking with on a Japanese toy collector bulletin board were like, "We need to do a rescue mission for this Garada K7." And one guy said, "All you need to do is dress up in overalls, act like you're supposed to be there, climb in with a ladder and some cutters, walk in and right out."
You know, Unit 5 released a Garada K7 when they were doing the re-releases of all those toys. But their Garada K7 was based upon what everybody thought it might have looked like, because at the time nobody had actually seen the actual piece itself because it had been lost to time. So when they actually found the Garada K7, we found out what it actually looked like. It sounds to me like you kind of remember that a little bit there, John.
A little bit. It's been a while since I've looked at it. I always thought he looked kind of stumpy, but he
was a lot smaller, and he wasn't made out of that shampoo bottle plastic either.
Right, he was kind of a heavier or something. I don't remember what they made him out of. But yeah, you're right. He was a bit like, they did try to release him, but I don't think he got around too much. So
now another thing, a lot of people may not realize, when the Machinders were released in Japan, they also released little boxes of different fists for them.
Right.
So you could buy all kinds of different accessories for them apart from the figures themselves. They never did that with the Shogun Warriors.
Right.
Although
so far ahead of their time with the extra hands and the fists and everything. It took the rest of the toy industry.
Speaking of which, Will, you may not know this, but the Shogun Warriors, well, actually the Jumbo Machinders and then those anime cartoons were actually the proto Transformers, because Great Raideen transformed into
a. I had the 5-inch Raideen thing, and he could change it to some little bird jet thing. I remember loving that little guy.
Then there was Combattler V, better known as Combatra, if you remember the Marvel comics.
Yeah, I never had that.
That was several different vehicles that would form into a robot, kind of like Voltron and others after him. So this was kind of proto everything. So all of these things like Transformers and stuff like that, the younger guys know about. Us older guys remember where it actually came from.
Right. I grew up, I was born in 71, so I'm old, and went through the 70s. I had a lot of the toys from the 70s. A lot of my toys did not survive my childhood because I took them apart. My Mazinga, I took him all to pieces. I wanted to see how he held together and everything. I took my brother's, he had a G.I. Joe Talking Marine, that 12-inch one that's now worth about $3,000. I wanted to see what made it talk, so I took it apart.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. And I haven't told him how much it's worth now. But anyway, I I had in the 80s, you know, and I think the largest Christmas I had was that one where I got the Millennium Falcon, the AT-AT, and a bunch of Star Wars figures from The Empire Strikes Back. That was my toys, and I had a lot of GI Joe toys that came in. My grandfather, he was a military guy, retired, and so he had no problem with it. But I thought as a kid I had a lot of toys. I mean, I just thought I had a bunch of them, but I didn't. I had just a handful
Let
of
me
them.
jump in here real quick, John, and just say howdy and hello to our buddy from Helidope. I've recently been picking up some stuff from these guys. They're toy sellers, and they've introduced me to the weird world of Boglins. So I'm looking forward to my first Boglin showing up, and I'll tell you guys all about it when it hits my door.
Yeah, we'll probably end up doing a special on that, Largo, because I
Okay.
know you want to show off those things when they actually come out. And tell us a little bit about Boglins, because some of us may remember Mad Balls, which was kind of similar but not the same.
Mm-hmm.
Well, before
Well,
we
they
start,
were-
I got to get going.
Okay,
So-
John. Thanks, buddy.
All right, John, you be
I'll
careful going
listen
home.
in. Good work on your channel, Dojatron, Carl. Good work on it. I've been
Thank you.
enjoying every little thing you put up there. You've been growing. You're leaps and bounds beyond what my little channel's doing. But I'm gonna try to do something this year. But anyway, you
Well,
guys
thanks.
take care, and good talking with you. I'll be listening in the rest of the trip.
All right, great. Nice to see you, John.
Be careful
Talk to you
going
soon.
home, John.
And just so you
Okay,
know, everyone watching, I'm putting links to all the channels of these fine gents in the chat right now. So I want you to just click on those and go over and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. And that
Absolutely.
goes for John from World Made of Cardboard, Mike from Matic Plastic Toy Shop, Largo's Lair, and of course, Gojatron.
Thank you so
just a
much.
second
All right,
here.
man.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, take care, John.
Have a good evening.
See ya.
All right, we hope John has a safe trip home, and if we're still around, maybe he can pop back in when he gets home. But all right, so let's continue. So we were talking about the Boglins.
Yep. You guys may or may not remember. I believe it was like late 70s, early 80s. They came out and they were like a hand puppet. I've got a picture here from Helidope's handbill. If that rings any bells.
Let me pull
Yeah,
you up.
if I
in the
remember,
spotlight.
the commercial had them like you
Mhm.
would put your hand in them and like burst them out of the cage or something. Right?
Exactly. They come with a little box that is also their cage. So kind of a little bit like a gremlin. You can put your hand in them and the eyes will move, and they've got little arms on them, and they're so ugly they're cute. And they've got all kinds of different ones, and they've kind of got their own lore and stuff. So I'm always looking for whatever's weird and fantastic to kind of go with our theme. And Ted is a big fan of the Boglins, so he and his buddy the Black Knight were talking about him. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna pick one up. I got to check it out, because if you guys think it's all that, these new release ones that have just recently come out are a little bit nicer grade of material, because apparently the old ones kind of deteriorate over the years, but these new ones, they've kind of revamped it a little bit, and we'll check
Isn't
it out.
he
see
though?
what it's like.
Isn't Jim Largo the best? Ted Darklaw, you're right. Ah, what a guy. You know,
Thank you.
and one thing too is that Jim brings up is a good point. Is if we just stay in our lanes all the time and only look at the things that we kind of covet or like or whatever it is, what fun is that? When we were kids, we were all over the place. Boglins came out.
Exactly.
You got some Mad Balls. You grabbed the Garbage Pail Kids. You played with them for a little while. You tried to make the big picture with the backs of the cards. It never worked out. Then you moved on to the next thing. G.I. Joe came out with something cool. Then you were Transformers and Masters. So we got to diversify. Check out different things, and as new stuff pops up. Is this an independent person here that got the rights for it? They're re-releasing the Boglins?
I'm not sure I'm not sure
big
about
name?
the company that's producing them.
I think the
but-
original creator of Boglins is involved in the reissues.
Oh, okay.
If I'm not
Oh,
mistaken.
nice. That's really cool. But yeah, that'd be great if it reaches another generation of kids. and they have something other than a
Ted
phone screen to look at.
Hold on, Will. If Ted Darkclaw is still in the chat, if you'll look at the top, Ted, there is a pinned link to StreamYard up there. If you'll follow that link in your browser, you could hop on the show here and tell us a little bit more about it if you know more.
Oh, I'm sure he does. He knows a lot about him. But while I've got
Rolo
Goji
was
here,
saying that it took him 3 years to get 300 subs, and we're all way ahead of him in some of our first year of operation. He just doesn't know how we do it, but he gives us some congratulations on that. And Adam from Radical Toys is talking about Boglins down there in the chat as well. Adam, if you know more about Boglins, we'd appreciate you coming on the show too. If you want to, you're more than welcome always, as you know.
I know a little bit about something, but it's always nice to have a community because somebody knows something about something that I don't know.
It sounds to me like that you're like me.
And Gojitron knows
a little bit about
more
everything
about it
and a whole lot about nothing.
Yeah.
And you can always count on Gojitron to know more about it than you do.
If you want to know about useless trivia, pop culture, or whatever, I can always just give a dumb look and nod if I don't know.
Yeah, but I'll be going like, what was that thing with the thing and the lasers and then Gojitron just types.
He's got one in his throat.
Yeah, Gojitron
all that
just
whips one out.
He just knows it right off the bat too.
Or I might just have it next to me sometimes.
Gojitron. Carl, were you there that night that we found that toy that Jim had been looking, Grindhead Jim had been looking for all those?
Yeah, I was searching all over for that, and then John ends up finding it.
I saw that.
That was cool.
That was one of the best moments, and he put it in the clip show too, and it was just cool.
Yep.
And then somebody, I think Bjorn or somebody bought it for him and then sent it to him.
They did.
Kind of
they chipped in. They did a group effort. But that for me was the defining moment where I went from a viewer to a part of the community because I was, Googling furiously. I was on my computer, on my phone, checking the chat, just looking up everything I could think of. And, we stayed on that for so long and, got to know all you guys that, that was the momentum. That was the thing that kicked me in the ass and made me stop
It was
just
a much
viewing.
more interactive Grindhead moment than the Majestic Tiger.
It was. And, I wrote him a long message with that clip saying, that was my kind of introduction to the community. Although I knew a lot of the names. And
there, Will. That brings
What's
up
that?
a pretty good point there, Will. I think that this type of television is the future of television. This interactive way in which we kind of interact with one another. Now, whether it stays on YouTube or moves to Rumble, I don't know. Rumble is kind of a hard platform to operate on, from what I can tell from my little bit. And then there's Twitch over there, which I do broadcast to, but I don't really interact over there much. But what do you guys think the future of entertainment television is? Do you think it's more like this community that we formed here on YouTube, where it's kind of interactive with the viewers themselves?
I'll say something that might be a little controversial, but I feel like the more that they put out new stuff and it sucks, the more we gravitate towards. But I will also tell you, one of the things that was the best thing about my childhood, besides, awesome movies, IPs and things like that, was the camaraderie between me and my friends. You know what I mean? There was a neighborhood. We would go outside, we'd breathe that fresh air, and we'd all just kind of talk with each other. This hanging out. You don't just be hanging out. You're not doing anything. You're just talking about the things you like, jumping from person to person and whatnot. But that's missing in today's society, or, in some cases. And this is the closest thing to hanging out with my friends down at the park that I've had in the last 20 years. So,
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's what makes it. It's a worldwide hangout. That's right.
Mhm.
That's right, Zazel.
I'm going to let you in on a little secret. The future is OnlyFans. Ceiling fans, box fans, any kind of fan.
That, ladies and gentlemen, was
Okay.
the great.
But
Jim
yes,
Largo.
I just think that, there's so much crap content that we're all kind of going like, are you seeing this? Like, have you ever watched something so terrible? You're like, you just have to talk to someone about it. 'Cause you're like, yeah, am I losing? The worst thing I've ever watched.
Carl, what do you think, man?
Yeah, I agree with Will. This is sort of the natural evolution of when we all hung out and played with our toys in the backyard or the playground. This is sort of the natural evolution of it, and we can do it internationally now with the wonders of technology.
Yep. We've got our buddy
It's kind of
Zazel
like,
who's on the
hey,
other side of the
everybody,
world.
let's go play at Bill's house today, and so everybody comes over to my house to play.
Yeah.
And then
yeah.
next week
I think
we'll
we need
play
a
over
picture
at,
of all of our bikes.
House.
Yeah, we need all our bikes on your front lawn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just scattered. And, then we zoom in and we're here, hanging
You
out.
always knew who
You know,
had
there
the
was
cool
always-
mom
there was
because
always one
everybody's
house.
bikes would be on the yard.
There was always one house that we always went to because the mom in that house would fix us snacks and Kool-Aid
Yes.
and all that.
Oh,
So
no,
the
no,
bikes
no.
were always over there at that house. Did y'all have
Exactly.
a house like that in your neighborhood?
Yeah, it was my house. And
That was mine.
and it wasn't because of the snacks. It was because, I had a whole, it was an unfinished, but a big basement. And
Uh-huh.
we really weren't in the way of anyone. So my parents didn't mind so much, having
That's
people
cool.
over. And also I'd sneak people through my basement window. It was like ground level and it was like this tall, but we had like a little ladder.
Well, this begs the question.
We were always having fun.
This
Yeah.
begs the question. Did the basement end up being like on that 70s show where there was a
Yeah,
circle,
yeah,
if you know what I
yeah,
mean?
like a dirtier, version of it. Probably, it's just not as nice.
You were the original grunge.
Yeah, way before. I can tell you some stories, but
Well, Mike, did you have a house in your neighborhood that was where everybody liked to go and play?
Well, that was mine.
See, why is
Yeah.
it always that way? Is
Well-
it because we always had the most toys, or we had the bigger play area,
it
or something?
wasn't. I had a pool table, which was kind of cool, so that was like one thing. But we played pool most of the time. But I gotta tell you, parents, I had like a bad rep when I was a kid. I know you can't believe it, right? But yeah, they thought we were doing what they thought we were doing in there was like we're producing meth or something. But most of the time we were playing like D&D or painting Warhammer miniatures or playing with G.I. Joes or video
Oh, yeah.
games when.
Something
we'd
really
have these,
nefarious.
Yeah, we'd play like Nintendo. We'd have like tournaments for like Super Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat. One summer we just played this game called Genghis Khan on NES for like weeks. We had like tournaments. It's like a strategy game.
Let me interrupt everybody for a minute here. We were talking about OF there a minute ago, and that triggered Rolo. Rolo's wife said he should open an OF account. Nasty lady, she says. Not nice to make jokes like that around a guy like him. So he's considering opening an OF account. So I don't know if I want to see that or not. What do you think there, Largo?
I don't know.
Well, Rolo does have a fairly entertaining collection of costumes and accessories, so he could probably put on a show.
Yeah, but I
I'm
would
just
hate to see. I would hate to see what he would do for OnlyFans. We're getting close to furryism now, and that scares me just a little bit.
I've seen what he can do with the pinata, so I'm a little scared.
My God. Okay.
If Rolo starts an OnlyFans, he's got to be careful where he puts those fireworks. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, Ted Darklaw's here. Let me bring him in real quick. I'm gonna take a couple of you guys out. Okay.
All
Yeah,
right.
Hey, what's going on, Mr. Darklaw? Your microphone is muted.
There he is.
There. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. You know what? See, the problem is I still have you guys up on YouTube. There we go. All right. Now we're better.
All right. So
It's like
tell us
the
a
old
little bit
days with
about-
talk radio. It's like, turn your radio down.
Yeah, turn
Yeah.
the radio off, guys.
Tell us a little bit about those Boglins and how that came about to be re-released.
Yeah. So, first of all, thank you for the opportunity. I sincerely appreciate it. I am not very camera ready, so I apologize.
Oh,
We're
that's
not
okay.
either.
I put you on the spot, I think. So it's blame me.
So, brief history of the Boglins came out in like 87, 88, something like that. Were just really gross monster puppets. So this is one of the originals. This is Drool. They were super huge in the UK, still are. And so, yeah, they were just foam rubber puppets. Their eyes move, their eyes glow in the dark. Loved Boglins as a kid. I got this guy when I was 6 years old. Just one of my, like, the house catches on fire. This is what I'm saving. You know, this is the one thing. Followed by the lightsaber. But so, you know, they re-released all these toys. All the toys from our childhood, and I was screaming to the universe in 2019. I'm like, yo, can I get a freaking Boglin, man? And in 2020, they launched a Kickstarter. Tim Clark, the man who did make Boglins, launched a Kickstarter to re-release them in the original packaging and everything. So same old school molds, same old school box, and that became very popular. In 2021, I had the opportunity to become a distributor for Boglins, so we were able to buy Boglins, and which just made my life, because behind me here on this wall, those are all Boglins hair. I have every single one, but this one is Spunk, and again, foam rubber puppets, eyes move. They're supposed to be gross.
That is absolutely cool as hell. Look, Ted. There's a private chat if you see it over here on the side.
Yes.
If you'll put the link to your store and where people can buy those Boglins in that private chat, I will post it in the chat where everybody can click the link.
I appreciate that. So yeah, they are released by Tri-Action Toys now, and that is through Tim Clark. I don't know how much like interference Tim Clark has on that. He has Chris Cafani, who is the president of Tri-Action, kind of running the things. But they have redone some old molds. They found old molds from the 80s to recreate this guy Spunk. A lot of the stuff is repaints, and that's okay. You know, they've done some alien Boglins, some bat Boglins. The Halloween Boglins are probably the most popular. Those have the bodies that glow in the dark, and man, those glows are amazing. And Jim, I'm actually glad I have you on here. Your package did land today in your little hub, but I wanted to warn you before you open this. So when you buy these and open them, this Boglin is attached to the back. So you actually have to go in on the right side. There's a flap here that opens up, and you can take the whole base out. And that is how you get them out without destroying your box, because this is one box you don't want to throw away.
No, because you can use the box as part of your display, and you can put your arm through the bottom. Is that right?
Yeah. So I don't have this one punched out, but yes, you can put your hand in the bottom and then control the puppet through the box. But open it up from the side here. The tail is underneath the base, and then everything just folds and slides right back in real nicely, and then you don't ruin this really awesome box.
What is the price point on those, if you don't mind me asking?
So we sell them at $39.99. That's standard retail. I'm sorry, I got a dog barking upstairs.
That's okay.
Tri-Action does have them a little bit higher, but we get them at a good price that we're still able to sell them at the regular retail price, and that's one thing we want to maintain.
Your shipping is very reasonable as well.
Yeah, thank you. We're trying to have the best price, and we're trying to do it super quickly. Like, that is the goal. Like, you buy something, it's going out the door same day, next day, just depends on what time it lands. I have an amazing wife who manages the Hella Dope warehouse. And first of all, she's the best packer in the world. You're not going to open up your box and find a single air pocket and your figure smashed. They're wrapped with care. We try to box them with care. And they go out the door as soon as humanly possible. And
do you have international shipping?
Yes, we do. That's been a little weird because we've been trying to figure it out, trying to find the best price for international shipping with taxes and duties and all that stuff, things that we're still learning. So we don't completely understand that aspect yet, but we are trying to.
Here in the last few years, because of various illnesses that I don't believe were a mistake. I think they were made. Shipping has gone out the ass crazy, especially international shipping.
Yeah, it's really hard. Like even getting stuff to Canada right now. Like we have a lot of Canadians that are interested in stuff, and they're just like, I'm not paying
Wow.
double. Like it's
Yeah, I know.
it's
I know.
hard.
I sent a Christmas present to Adam, a good friend of mine who's here in the chat at Radical Toys, and it was
Mhm.
just two uh, GI Joe figures that I bought at Walmart for him. It costed me nearly $50 just to send them to him, which was more than the two figures were worth.
Yeah,
That's
that's
crazy.
insane. Absolutely insane. And I don't understand. Like I don't know if it's customs. Like I don't know if that money's going back to the government. I don't understand how any of that works.
Somebody's
It
lining their
sucks.
damn pocket with this money.
Yeah, I do have some issues with customs here. Anything I bring in, I have to pay them a little fee, but it's not horrible. There's workarounds, so I'm able to get some cool stuff that I wouldn't necessarily get unless I was in the continental U.S. But I've ordered some Valivers from these guys. Everything came in great shape. You guys do wrestling figures. You got the Boglins. What else you got?
So we're working on some other stuff. We do have NECA.
Mhm.
I was watching you guys, and I literally got a call from my business partner, the Black Knight. He gave me some bummer news that our Animal Warriors of the Kingdom that we were expecting to arrive very soon are been pushed back again. So it's unfortunate. Hopefully, once Spiro gets this first wave out, things will start flowing a little bit better. We have Cosmic Legions coming later in the year. We have the Necronominous Mythic Legions line coming later in the year. And yeah, right now we're just trying to pad out. Our inventory is a little light. We just kind of started in September, but we're getting more and more vendors, and that's helping out a lot. And like I said, we're not buying anything or selling anything unless we can put it at a really good price, like competitive price.
Well, that's fair.
So we're not
One,
trying to screw anybody.
One of the more esoteric pieces I just recently picked up. I'm a sucker for robots. I love, old B9 and whatnot. Nacelle just recently started doing RoboForce and brought those back. I'll put it back up here if you want to see him. Everybody knows this guy.
Danger, Will Robinson. Danger.
That's the guy. But
Sounds good too.
the RoboForce with the suction cups on the bottom, everybody kind of remembers the trash can looking robots. They've retooled them. Nacelle has reinvented the line, and I bought the first two. Matter of fact, that's going to be my first unboxing video because they came before your package did. So, do you have any knowledge of RoboForce? Is that something that you guys might be doing later, or any other third-party lines like that?
So we don't have anything through Nacelle right now, but it certainly has been in conversations. Just more of a reaching out to them. They were at PowerCon with all the other vendors when we started actually talking to people, but we did miss them. But I do remember it from a child. I do remember the suction cup robot with the arms and then the squishy head. Yeah, that was good stuff there. I didn't even know that was a thing now until you just mentioned it. So it's certainly something we can look into.
Now, talking about
very recent.
RoboForce, was that the one with Max Steel in it, and there's
Yes.
a problem with that name, so they can't use that name. Is that correct?
Yes, that's another one of those copyright and or trademark issues where Max Steel was originally the Ideal Company's RoboForce leader, and then they went out of business or discontinued the line. Mattel created a Max Steel character, spelled a little differently, totally different character. And when Nacelle wanted to bring their Max Steel back, Mattel said, no, you can't use that name.
Yeah,
They
they
went back and
swooped
forth.
in and got the trademark when the trademark lapsed.
Something
And so
like
now
that.
they have to come up with a creative name for Max Steel that doesn't say Max Steel on it, right?
Right. I can't remember what it is they came up with, but you know who it is. So it's
Well, see. Now, I am what we call I take my toys and I do all sorts of things with them. So I know that somebody out there has got sticker sheets so that you can re-sticker your not Max Steel toy so that it looks just like it did in the beginning.
oh yeah, I'm sure there's a way. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Absolutely. Now, I wanted to talk to Ted for a moment. Now, of course, we don't want to release any trade secrets or anything, but tell us a little bit about what it's like to start a company up from scratch like you have and come on the scene. Tell us the steps that you had to take and how hard or easy or whatever it might have been.
So it actually started with the HasLab Sentinel. Like, I didn't have enough money for the Sentinel. I'm a big toy collector. I'd gotten really good at toy hunting and clearance hunting specifically. So finding Marvel Legends for $5, like, that was my bread and butter. So I had a bunch of stuff just stored in the closet that I just didn't have space for because I accumulated so much. So I said, well, I'm good at clearance hunting. I have a lot of stuff. Maybe I can sell some of this off, pay for the Sentinel. And that is what I did. And I kind of just chilled after that. I was like, I'll sell some things here and there, make some toy money, buy some new figures and stuff. And then Christmas of 2020, things just kind of blew up. 2021, I was just like, well, let's just see what we can do with this. And 2021 was, pretty good year. I did a couple $100 here and there. Nothing crazy. 2022 comes around and everything just starts blowing up, especially with it was when we got the Boglins. So we got the Boglins in September of 2021, and that is when everything actually just started changing. So we didn't have the website yet. I was just, selling toys, buying them on clearance, selling them for a little under retail. And then when I actually had this where I could sell it at just a normal retail price, that's what we did. That started blowing up. My best friend, the Black Knight, Aaron, went to PowerCon with me in August of 2021. It was Sunday. It was slow. He said, why are you still running around toy stores just buying stuff and flipping it? Why don't you go legit? There's NECA here. There's the Fwooshes here. All these people are here that you could be talking to. And I said, I don't really have the bankroll for that. We do, maybe my biggest month was $1,000. So nothing special. And, he offered to kind of originally like come in as a silent partner and support it because, he wanted me to do well. He believed in what I was doing. He saw the numbers. It was profitable. And when we went to try to reach out to NECA and stuff, we needed a site. We needed a name. We needed an LLC. We needed tax ID numbers, all this stuff. And then things just kind of got crazy. So we built the site. I had been messing around with the Hella Dope thing for a while. Originally, when I was doing this in 2021, the goal was to buy something that I thought was cool, maybe make some stop motion or do some video about it and use that to sell it. So I actually started a website called It's Hella Dope. And the goal was to just push what I loved in an effort to try to sell it to other people. You either get the FOMO or you go, oh, I've never seen that before. Oh, this is cool. I need one of those, something like that. And so we launched the site in September of 2022. We started reaching out about some sponsorships to a lot of people. We sent things to Shartimus, Cincy Nerd. The biggest response we got, which is how most people have found us, is the 3POA. We offered a sponsorship for one of their giveaways. And ever since then, they have been incredibly good to us, more than probably what we deserve. Laser Pants, Tony, Bobby have all been amazing. We became Valaverse vendors. I got cases of Valaverse right behind me here. We started the YouTube lives just to try to get the name out there. Nerdzoic did a really good job with that. He created a YouTube channel first and then started a toy store. So he had a really good backing and really good head start. We're doing it backwards. We are literally nobody. Not a lot of people trust us, and that's understandable, especially with things like Megalopolis and Dorkside. I've literally gotten emails in the past couple days, like all the shipments from the weekend went out Tuesday. I'm getting emails Wednesday, Thursday going, where's my package at? I'm just like, it is coming. It is coming, I promise. Some of the tracking numbers didn't update, and that's a little scary for us. But yeah, it's been a wild ride going from nothing to building a community, getting to know a lot of people, and then just being able to serve as well. Like, we had the Ronins, people could not find those Ronins. We got them out to people. We got them quick, got them at a good price. And I think that's the best part. So I'm really excited for 2023. We're official vendors at PowerCon now, if anybody ever wants to make the trip out for that. But yeah, it's been an interesting ride. I was just a toy flipper trying to make money for my toys, and we started a business from it. So
that's a neat story. I love hearing how people get started and you had the knowledge of the toys, and Black Knight had the business savvy, and you guys were just chocolate and peanut butter, make it work.
Absolutely.
Two great tastes, taste great together.
He has been my best friend since we were kids, and there's nobody I trust more. And he's a great salesman as well, so that helps.
All right. Now we got Rolo started up again. He says, "I'm learning a lot here, but there's also a lot that I hear I don't like." Well, you're gonna have to elaborate on that just a little bit there, Rolo, and maybe we can cover that.
That's
But
probably
I
because
do
his
have
wallet
I do
isn't
have
big
the
enough to
site
get all the
pulled up
toys
here.
he wants.
Yeah, I do have the site pulled up here for you guys to look at, and I also once again posted the link there in the chat to Hella Dope Toys, and it looks like he's got a vast array of Valaverse toys there, as well as the Boglins and NECA. Now, I know that you're a vendor. You don't want to talk bad about the people who supply you, but we've had trouble out of NECA. Being mainly the quality of the plastic that they make their toys out of. Have you had trouble from NECA or with your customers buying NECA toys that arrive broken or what have you?
Thankfully, nobody has come to us with any complaints in regards to their figures breaking or anything. But as a long time NECA buyer, especially with this original Gremlin, I completely understand moving these guys, and they've gotten better over time. But this is one of the original ones, and trying to move the arms or move the legs, really thought they were going to break. And I think that's kind of the running joke in NECA. We all know once you get it out of the box, if you're going to open it, heat that thing up.
Absolutely.
And their paint apps and their sculpting are absolutely amazing. It's just getting that first wave of funk off of it. And I absolutely feel for anybody who opens up something that they've been waiting for and something snaps off. Like that's the worst. Luckily, we haven't come across that.
Did you see Pixel Dan's post that he did recently about the new Dungeons and Dragons cartoon figures?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that. I don't think it's something we're going to be specifically grabbing, but I'm a big fan
I think
of
that's a Hasbro release, if I'm not mistaken. And the Hank the Ranger figure, as soon as he pulled it out of the box, the hand snapped off immediately. So he ordered a replacement, and when the replacement came, he heated it up and did all the things that you're supposed to do with it, and damned if the hand didn't snap off again on his replacement figure.
Yeah. This has become one of my best friends, is a heat gun. Every time I open a figure now.
I need to invest in
Here we go. Now Rolo elaborates. He wouldn't be able to resell NECA because they're overpriced and flimsy. And to be honest, I don't see that they've done any better. I just feel like they're trying to milk the community, and he apologizes. Well, I don't know what's going on over there at NECA. I think a lot of it has to do with the quality of the plastic that they're using for their toys. What do you think, Ted?
And again, I'm not like, outside of talking to their sales team, I'm not really in the know on that end, but with 2020 being weird and things going up and it being hard to get stuff, I could imagine a situation where maybe they had to improvise on some things and maybe try a different distributor or a different type of plastic just because they weren't able to get stuff to meet their deadlines. I'm not saying that's true. I'm just throwing out theoretically.
We're kind of speculating at this point.
Yeah.
Take everything that you hear with a grain of salt.
Yeah, I don't know nothing about nobody.
Right.
Yeah,
that would be
my guess. The pros to NECA is great sculpts, great paint apps, and interesting characters that nobody else is doing. The downside is, especially with some of their earlier stuff, brittle plastic, joints that are kind of iffy. They make nice displays, but if you're going to play with them hard, you're going to have some broken joints.
Well, that's how they get away with what they're doing over there, because they'll tell you these are not toys; these are adult collectibles.
Yeah,
they're statues to be admired, which is what I have to do with my movie turtles now. So I had the movie turtles. I got those from GameStop back, I don't know, 2019, 2020. I don't remember when. I can't change the hands anymore because the hand peg broke off. So whatever hands they have now, unfortunately, I am stuck with forever because I am too scared to take out another pair of hands.
Yeah.
But that's the only issues I've ever had with them because I'm always careful. But man, it sucks because I can't fix that issue.
Right.
Yeah, and that's what bothers a lot of us about toys in general. And I'm not talking about. I'm not picking on NECA at this point because, like I said, Hasbro's is we're finding issues with them as well. So you have removable hands, and if you want to remove the hands and replace them, you're breaking your toy doing that. So it's messed up.
Well, and another thing with Hella Dope, I want to give a shout out to Ted for and to Black Knight is the availability of weird and obscure things that sometimes you miss the boat on.
Absolutely.
I missed the boat on the Headless Horseman. I wanted it. I looked at it. I thought about it. I went back to buy it. Sold out. And I just happened to mention it in the chat, and they're like, that might have a little something. So these guys were able to hook me up with a Mythic Legions Headless Horseman, and I am super stoked to see that show up because that's a cool figure.
Yeah, I haven't checked your UPS tracking. I know the other package landed, but I don't know. I think the UPS one has the Headless Horseman in it. I don't know if that's landed yet. We were debating putting it on the store because he bought two, right. And we just didn't want to mark it up. It felt weird running around saying we're offering the best prices, but here's a Headless Horseman for $80 more. It just didn't feel right. So he was just kind of sitting on it, and yeah, the fact that we appreciate you as one of our first customers, one of our first commenters on our show. We're big fans of Jim Largo at Hella Dope Toys.
Do you have a YouTube channel, Ted? Or
we do. It is at Hella Dope Toys. And we go live every Sunday at 9 p.m. This Sunday, we will have...
hook up the chat with that link, somebody that's got the wrenches.
Yeah, it's just youtube.com/@HellaDopeToys. But this Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, we have the host of the 3POA, Laser Pants, joining us for an interview. Okay, cool. The week after that, we have toy hunter, toy creator, Rocco the Great. And the week after that, we have the Sunny Channel. And we're currently in talks with some others for February and March as well. So we're really, really excited about all that. And, we're not trying to be YouTubers. It's just another opportunity to, one, build trust with people so they can see our faces, they know who we are, and just kind of get the word out there.
Well, you're in the right neighborhood. It's a great part of the community. Ryan and Tony and those guys are solid. And, if you get some visibility there, that's definitely going to bring some people over towards Hella Dope Way.
I want to go back to the Boglins for a minute. Are you an exclusive place to get the Boglins, or are you just one of the first ones that's got it available?
It's certainly not exclusive. They went retail. I'm sorry, I got wild dogs upstairs.
That's
they
okay.
went retail
got them too.
with Walmart and GameStop. But their deal with Walmart went sour pretty quick, and they do have an exclusive coming out in March, and that is the Zombie Boglins. And those will be private store, small store exclusive. So they're not going to GameStop, Walmart, anything like that. I don't think you'll ever see one of these in Walmart again.
Boglins don't break right out of the box, so it's a quality product.
That's true.
Now they have some other variants. You've got vampire ones, and some that have some other. Are those smaller ones? Are they alternate kind of Boglins? What are those?
They are all the same, and again, most of them are repaints. That's the downside to them just starting off again. So most of them are repaints of these three right here, and that is Drool, Vlob, and Dwork. So the Halloween ones are repaints, the Bat Boglins are repaints, the Alien ones are repaints. This Vlob or Spunk right here was a new mold, and then they also did King Wart and King Topher, both of which were new molds as well. So they do have 6 original molds. But again, unfortunately, right now, for them to be able to do new stuff, they have to. It's more noticeable with Boglins than it is with a Marvel Legends figure, right? They can make a new head and repaint a body all day, but when you do it with the Boglins, it kind of sucks sometimes because you're just like, well, I have that, but they're still fun. I love them. Bat Boglins are fun.
Well, I will say this, folks in the chat. If you want to get a Boglins and you don't know where to find them, now we know where to find them, right there at Hella Dope Toys.
Yeah, and I appreciate you guys bringing me on. I didn't mean to bump anybody that was on here.
No, today's open mic night, man. It's open mic night here at the Weird Fantastic Toy Adventure Show, and anybody and everybody can come on and talk about things. And I when Largo told me about this and said that he might get you to come on, I immediately jumped on that because I said, yeah, we got to get on the show and talk about this, because I know this is something that some of my viewers will be interested in. And we're always looking for something new to collect or something new to bring in. And like me, for instance, I do a lot of customizing, and my action figures tend to play with one another, so lines tend to cross, and Boglins might just be something that
Yeah. Well, again, appreciate your time, Ted. You're welcome to keep hanging out. I'm going to bring in some of the other guys in the peanut gallery. They may have some questions for you if you got a minute.
Yeah, I can hang out for a few more minutes. I got like another 20 minutes or so. I am going to grab another beer if that's all right.
Oh, please do.
I was not prepared. I'll be.
That's fine. Goji, you're a patient man. Thank you, sir.
And
for waiting.
Eldor there says he's going to think about getting him some Boglins soon.
Oh, well, good. That would definitely go nice with his Eternia collection. Did you guys ever have? Oh, I'm sorry. Are we muted? Sorry, Carl.
I think Mike was muted. I can't unmute Gojitron because he muted himself.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
There he is.
No, I was just saying while you guys are talking, I was connecting dots in my head, as I often do. You had mentioned Nacelle Company's RoboForce,
Yes.
and later on this year, they're coming out with a rebooted Sectors as well. And I believe Boglins started off as a proposed addition to the Sectors line, because Sectors and Boglins were both created by Tim Clark, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe Ted can verify that.
I'm sorry. What was the question?
No, I was just saying that I believe that Tim Clark also created Sectors.
Yes.
I think the Boglins were supposed to be an extension of the Sectors line back in the 80s originally. Is that correct?
It might be. We did get to watch his panel at PowerCon, and he went so over time on his backstory. He didn't really get much past Sectors. But yeah, it very well could be that they were together. I just know he wanted to make. He was in with Jim Henson due to the Dark Crystal. He was like, yo, toys are moving right now. Jim Henson said, I don't want to be a toy guy, Tim. And Tim said, well, fine, I'll go do it myself. And that's kind of where that started.
Yeah, Sectors were unique in the fact that they're writing insects. You could put your hand in and actually play with them like a puppet as well. That was kind of a neat gimmick. So, and that ties in with
Sectors. I think they're like it was a hand puppet spider, and the characters would ride on it, and you kind of made it work with your hand.
Yep.
So, are the Sectors coming back? Does anybody know?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, they came back once already.
Okay.
Zika Toys did a 4-inch version of Sectors a few years ago, and now Nacelle Company, the company that Jim mentioned, is doing RoboForce. They're coming back with a 7-inch version later on this year, I believe.
Okay, all right. And will Hella Dope Toys be carrying the Sectors? We inquiring minds want to know.
So I haven't heard anything about like any final product being made or anything being released. I would guess they're still a year or so away. But I assume he would still do it through Triaction, because that's where all the Boglins are going through. My guy Stan, my sales rep Stan, as soon as something like that launches, he is going to call me, whatever random time it might be. Stan is going to call me and be like, "Hey, I got this thing," and then I'll know more then. But right now, I don't think they have any molds or anything even started yet. I think it's more of just an idea, but I might be wrong about that.
And Melvor down there says Tim Clark is still super passionate about Sectors and Boglins. And Masterversal Toy Collectors got to go do some filming for his next video. Good to see you, Eldor. Glad you came in to visit tonight. And if you guys have anything else that you want to talk about, you guys need to go for it because it's about time for me to feed those ducks.
I don't have
2
anything
hours.
else.
That went fast.
Yeah,
Well,
just
absolutely.
thanks for having me
We're
on, Bill.
having fun.
So again, thank you, Gojitron. Thank you, Ted. Thank you, Mike. Thanks to Wilhelm, who came and went, and everybody else in the chat and hanging out. We're always having a good time on Friday, and maybe we'll see some of you. Are we doing a show Sunday or?
I'm hoping to get a show done Sunday. Talking about future broadcasts, I like to do a late night show on Saturday right after AOM TV goes off. That should still be on. As far as the Sunday show goes, that's probably iffy because I've got a meeting that I have to attend, if you know what I mean, Largo.
Yes, sir.
And I may not be back in time to do that. If that be the case, then we're going to skip Sunday. So just pay attention to the upcoming videos on Weird Fantastic Video Toy Adventures and see whether that's going to happen or not. But the chances are very slim that we're doing a Sunday show. But Saturday night, anything goes on a Saturday night just about. So if you guys are up late, check us out then. If any of you guys got anything else to say, now's the time to do it. Ted, we appreciate having you on the show. You're invited back again anytime you want to.
Thank you guys. I really appreciate it. It's a big deal to me. So thank you.
Yeah,
very much.
as soon as I get a chance to, Ted, I'm going to put these links and everything in the description of this broadcast so that people can come back and look at that and see the links to your store and in your channel. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Again, plug in our buddies here. Gojitron just did a great room tour. Go watch it on his YouTube. Ted is going to have some great guests coming up, including our buddy Laser Pants this Sunday. And watch some of his earlier. I'm catching his back catalog of stuff, and it's pretty interesting. So check out Hella Dope Toys on YouTube as well.
All right, guys, good to see y'all in. I'm going to take you guys out. And Largo, it's been a great time, open mic night. And I appreciate you bringing Ted in to see us tonight and talk about those boggling toys. And remember, everybody, together we shall triumph, and we'll see you all next time.
Bye.
Special thanks to these supporters on Patreon. Without your help, these adventures would not be possible. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed today's adventure, please hit like and subscribe and share the video.